Hey everyone, welcome back to the Social Media CX podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Sellis, and today we're diving into another brilliant strategy from our last interview episode with Bart Berkey. If you haven't listened to that episode, please hit that pause button, go back to that episode, listen to that one, maybe listen to the second one where I give another tip of Bart's, but come back and listen to this one after. Because today we are talking about the 33 rule. That's 30-3 rule. This approach, which originated as a sales tool, is all about making a strong first impression and keeping the conversation dynamic and engaging. Bart shared how it works for sellers, but here's a secret. It's just as effective in social media customer care as it is in sales. If you're managing social interactions, whether they're questions, complaints, or even compliments, applying the 33 rule can transform how you connect with your audience. Welcome to the Social Media CX podcast, where social media meets customer experience and where all fires, no rainbows is the current reality for most brands. I'm Brooke Sellis, CEO of B Squared Media, and I'm on a mission to change that. Social media can be the MVP of your CX strategy, and I'm here to show you how. Each week, we'll tackle the challenges of social care head-on with candid interviews, real-world case studies, and actionable advice to turn your social channels into loyalty-building, revenue-driving dopamine machines. Whether you're managing customer complaints, trying to engage meaningfully, or just tired of missing DMs, this podcast is your guide to putting out the fires and building the rainbows.
You need to capture the attention of the buyer the first 30 seconds. If you don't, you're going to lose them. In order to keep them engaged, every 3 minutes, making sure that you are redirecting and asking them a new question to keep them engaged and for you to be able to keep identifying what those needs are. So you can establish, yes, of course, rapport, but you can also then be able to establish an emotional connection. And then you're asking questions that will allow you to deliver above and beyond, deliver the plus, deliver the unexpected, deliver the over delivering.
Let's break it down. Number one is that you want to nail that first 30 seconds, or in social care, that first response. In sales, the first 30 seconds are everything. And trust me, I know. You are currently listening to the entire sales team for B Squared Media. Hi, it's just me. And this isn't my first sales rodeo. Back in my nonprofit days, I was tasked with raising nearly $1 million a year. And let me tell you, selling feel goods instead of tangible goods, that's a different kind of challenge entirely. Before that, like 100 years ago or so, or at least that's how it feels, I worked in luxury real estate and was even named Sales Associate of the Year in 2004. Gulp. That was 20 whole years ago. All that to say, I've lived and breathed the pressure of those first moments in a conversation, whether it's selling a home, an idea, or solving a customer's issue. Those initial seconds can make or break the connection. On social media, the equivalent is your first response. So let's imagine this. A customer tweets about an issue and your response is generic, delayed, or robotic, which happens way too often. Stop doing this, please. You've already lost your customer's attention and maybe even their trust. Instead, use the first reply to do 3 things: acknowledge their message, show empathy, and set the stage for the next steps. So it would look something like this. Hey, Brooke, thanks for reaching out. I can understand how frustrating that must be. Let's work on this together. Can you share more details in a DM? Did you catch that? I just used the tell me more method that we talked about in episode 2. So yeah, if you're listening to this one and you pushed pause and you went and listened to Bart episode and now you're listening to this one, you got to go and listen to episode 2 and the tell me more approach so that you don't miss that little tip too. Okay, so doing those 3 things makes the interaction feel personal. It's immediate, but it's also human. It's your 30-second window to capture attention and signal that you're ready to help. The second thing is to engage every 3 minutes, or in your case, for social care, each interaction. So in Bart's world, sellers ask a new question every 3 minutes to keep the conversation moving. In social care, it's the equivalent of making each interaction meaningful. Here's how to do it. Avoid one and done responses. Instead of solving the issue in isolation, think about ways to deepen the relationship, because ultimately we're trying to build trust and loyalty. So for example, you could say something like, "Can you tell me more about what you're trying to do? How often have you been experiencing this issue? Was there something specific you were hoping to do or looking for or hoping for?" Use those questions or questions like that to gather context, identify underlying needs, and showcase your expertise. And here's a pro tip. Even if you've moved the interaction to a DM, a direct message, or a private message, or email, keep the same energy. Personalization shouldn't end just because the platform changes. Okay. Finally, you have to deliver the unexpected or over-deliver. Here's where Bart's advice really shines. Use the 33 rule to go beyond solving the problem. In every interaction that you have, look for an opportunity to over-deliver. What does this look like in social care? Well, for a complaint, it might be something like, after resolving the issue, following up with a personalized discount or offer, or just following up in general. Like, "Hey, Brooke, we know your washing machine broke. Somebody came out and fixed it last week, and we just wanted to follow up and make sure everything was in tip-top shape." Who does that? No one, okay? These are huge differentiators for you and your brand. Now, let's say somebody asks a question. It could be a support question. It could be a sales question. Either way, include an additional resource in your response. Maybe it's a blog post or a video that helps the customer or would-be customer understand or show versus tell. And for a compliment, surprise them. Give them a thank you gift or a shout out on your social channels. Give them 10% off or free shipping on the next thingamabobber. If you've read my book, Conversations That Connect, you know how important having the bar tab is for your social care team. These are those little tabs at the bar that allow you to hand out those free drinks or promotion codes as needed to win the customer over. Delivering the plus is what turns your routine interactions into unforgettable experiences. And here's why the 33 rule works in social care. It's powerful because attention spans are short, right? The faster you respond and engage, the more likely you are to build trust. If you've read Jay Baer's report, Time to Win, you know this. If you haven't, go read it. Essentially, what the report says is that the first brands to respond, the brands that are faster at responding on social, typically win the customer over. So they typically keep the customer if it's somebody returning or giving a complaint, or they typically win the deal if it's somebody asking for sales information. Social care is consultative, right? Social care, if you think about it, is just asking the right questions to get to a result. Sometimes that involves sales. A lot of times that involves sales, especially for our direct-to-consumer brands. Don't leave those out. Like Bart said, it's all about listening, asking the right questions, and then tailoring your response so that it feels nice and personalized for that person. And last, doing this builds emotional connections. When customers feel heard, understood, delighted, they are more likely to become loyal advocates of your brand. Why does this sound hard? I don't know, because it's not. But like, nobody's doing it. So if you do it, you're going to immediately win. Anyway, That's all for today's episode. The 33 rule is such a simple yet effective way to rethink your social care strategy. Start by focusing on that first 30 seconds of interaction or that first response, and keep your audience engaged by asking meaningful questions and over delivering at every opportunity. If you loved this episode, share it with your team or tag me on social. I'd love to hear how you're using the 33 rule to level up your CX game. Until next time, keep thinking conversation, not campaign, and bye for now.